Good evening, we're live. I can see a heck of a lot of comments coming in. So some of you must have been commenting long before, well, way back to 5:30 with Detector Kev. Anyway, good to see you all, folks. Hope you have all had a good weekend. I'm just going to knock my mobile off before it starts blaring. How is everybody? Have you all survived the weekend? Hi, Mel from Detector Kev.
I'm not on yet, Kev.
No, Mel's you're coming on. Right, okay. We've got no one. Oh, yeah, we have got people watching from Facebook. Kev's had an amazing day detecting, which is good. Which is excellent news. Well done, Kev. And good evening to Dave Digger Scotland, and that's David Haggerty. Good to see you, mate. As always. The vast majority of people are now following us on YouTube, with a smattering of people on Facebook. There's a reason why. There's a few reasons why we've done this live stream this evening, and we are overdue a live stream. We did say we were going to do more and more live streams, maybe one every fortnight, but that seems to be slipping to one every week. One every month or one every 3 weeks. So it's just a matter of fitting it in. Neil Radner, good to see you, sir. Hope you are well. And there's a Facebook user with a good evening, but I don't know who that is, but good evening to you too. We're jumping up to 20 odd people watching, which is good. Hope everybody's okay. So, a couple of things, folks. I'm getting a lot of, in fact, I'm getting a heck of a lot of messages regarding the new detector that's coming from MindLab. And of course, like every launch of any machine, there's a frenzy of information being bandied around on social media. Mainly, I have to say, good old Facebook. Suffolk Searcher MD UK. Good to see you, sir. How are you? There you go. Hope you're well. Very dry in Suffolk, I understand, from my friends down there. Hope you get some rain soon. We all need. Well, we've had a bit of rain up here today, but we all need it. Chris Critch is on from He's on the Facebook. Jumped up to 30 odd people, 33 people watching. That's jumped considerably. And Detecting Dale is on. How long for? I don't know. Just while we've got Detecting Dale on the screen, folks, give him a sub if you can. He's on the way to 1,000, as is one or two of the other Unearthed members, Team Unearthed members. Jason got 800 the other day. Yeah. Dale's on the way to 1,000, which is all good stuff. So give him a sub if you get a chance. There's always a joy boy knocking around when you don't need one. Lee Harrison, how are you, Lee? Good evening, guys. Hope you're well. Hope you are well, Lee. Good to see you on. And of course, we've got hi everyone, Kai Graham and Mel from History on Earth. Good to see you, sir. As always, good to see you all. Anyway, right. So let's get down to business, shall we? So Russell's on as well. Hi, Russell. How are you? And Don Shepherd and Surfside Dan. Wow, we've got and Ryan Chapelau and Bloodicus Detects. Well, they're all coming on. It's fantastic. Good to see you all. Good to see you, Russell. Good to see you, Don. Surfside Dan, good to see you from Myrtle Beach. Fantastic. And of course, Ryan Chappell, great guy. And Bloodicus Detects. So you're all, I hope you're all having a good Sunday. Right, so he says, oh, and Walter Perry's on as well. Look at this. We're being treated with some absolute legends this evening. And Walter Perry is no exception. So there's a heck of a lot of information being thrown out there. Thrown out there is the right word to use. Got a little bit tongue-tied there. Regarding the new detector coming from MindLab. What I've been able to do is just, in the past, when there's been new detectors being released, there's always been the ones that know more than everybody else. and they've been around for about as long as I can remember on social media, giving advice and guidance and how much it's going to cost and what it does and what it doesn't do. And you've got to make sure that you don't read into the hype too much, because if you do, you can be a little bit disappointed in some respects. Dark Knight Detectress is in the house. We'll just give you a plug for your channel earlier, Jason, because you're on the way to 1,000, which is good. I hope it goes quick up to Christmas and you get to the 1,000 mark. Sam Harvey's on. Good to see Sam. And we've also got XP. Hi all, enjoyed detecting for treasure tonight. Yes, good. I'm glad you did, sir. Yes. And Len Jackman is also on, which is good to see. Great guy is Len. Yeah, so you all know pretty much now that there's a new detector coming, and I'm getting bombarded by messages, and I'm not just getting bombarded by messages on Facebook. I'm also getting bombarded by messages on questions on YouTube, some questions on YouTube, a lot on Instagram, and a heck of a lot by email. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are MindLab or multi-frequency fans, and a lot of people are also Equinox fans, which I can understand, especially up here in the north, because of that good on pasture. And they're obviously very keen on the detector. Now, what I would say at this point is don't, Dale says he's still on. That's unusual for you, Dale. You usually log off after about 3 minutes. Andrew Tiffin, how are you, Andrew? I don't know if you've seen the update on the YouTube members section, Andrew. I did put a message on the member section of YouTube earlier about a dig coming up on the 11th of September, which is next Sunday. So have a look at that. Yeah, we're going to WhatsApp you with some information. Good to see you, sir. So yeah, so there's a lot of hype going on at the moment with the new machine. I mean, I've seen prices ranging from, this is people on social media thinking they know better than everybody else, saying, well, it's 998 quid or it's 2.5 grand or whatever it is. What I would say at this point for people is just relax. Detecting isn't going to change when a new machine comes out, just like it didn't when the Legend came out, just like it didn't when the Garrett Apex came out, just like it didn't when the Deus 2 came out. Detecting never changes when new machines come out. It's all about personal choice. If you're ready for a new detector and you're in the market for a new detector and you can afford a new detector, then that's fine. But what I don't want to do is get everybody sort of upset that this is the only machine on the planet that everybody's going to be able to get the best out of. Detecting doesn't change. Never changes when a new machine comes out. It's all about personal preference. What I will say about the new machine that's coming out, and of course I haven't tested it yet and I've not used it and I've not had a chance to hold it or anything like that, is the fact that it will be a good machine. MindLab don't make bad machines. This will be, if MindLab are claiming what they're claiming, be a mighty fine detector, which is good. And I can't wait to get my hands on one. We're gonna do a live unboxing on the Unearthed YouTube members section on here, not on live stream. We're going to do it if I can on the members section of YouTube, which is good. This is why we do the members section, you see. And yes, Andrew Tiffin wants to come on the 11th, Melanie, if you can put his name down. There you go. Thanks for that. Good man. So yeah, so there's a lot of hype. I can't answer every single question about the new Manticore. I can't do it. And the reason why I can't do it is because I don't know enough about it. I haven't used it in the field. I've got some really interesting pasture fields coming up later in the year. And if the machine's available, hopefully available by the time the horses and the livestock and everything else has been put down for winter, then I can possibly get on these fields and give the detector a really good, a good spin. We've got hi Grandad from Ivy Rush. There you are, Mel. Oh, my little granddaughter Ivy's on watching, which is fantastic. Hi Ivy, I hope you can hear me. I hope you're being good for Mum and Dad. Fantastic to see, heartwarming to see. Russell has said something. My lab machine has one flaw, same as all detectors. It can't make you walk over the target. Very true. You're going to walk over it, you know. I've seen people with the best machines on the planet at that particular time, because of their technique, have missed coins and artifacts that the cheap bottom end metal detectors have picked up. So yeah, it's all interesting stuff. Alan, how are you, Alan? Good to see you, sir. So I've seen people asking to put their name down already. No, I don't. I think what's happened. I think the clever people out there are sitting back and thinking, I want to see more about this machine. But what Minelab have done this time, which is interesting, instead of drip feeding information, when it was released, they give quite a lot of information out. So the claims of it being 50% more powerful than the Equinox. I can give you the details, what I know. And I'm being absolutely honest with everybody here. I'm going to get one. And the reason why I'm going to get one, because I like the sound of it. And the reason why I like the sound of it is because the features and the spec of the machine will fit my detecting style. So what I know is what I can give you, and I won't give you any hype. I tested quite a lot of metal detectors over my time, and I used to periodically write detector reviews for magazines. And if there was ever a metal detector on the market that wasn't up to scratch, I used to say, it's not good enough. It needs to be changed. And I've sent manufacturers many emails, probably spent too many hours emailing manufacturers to change certain detectors and try to improve certain detectors. And most of the time it fell on deaf ears, because at the end of the day, who am I? I'm just a detectorist. But what they fail to realize is I'm an experienced detectorist. So what I would like to see in a metal detector would be mirror imaged by probably thousands of other detectorists throughout the country. That doesn't mean to say that the engineers like to listen to somebody like me necessarily, but personally they should a little bit. And people like you guys as well, because we know what we want. But what has attracted me to it is because I'm already an Equinox user. So if the claim that this new machine is going to be more powerful than the Equinox, and they can't make that claim on a whim, by the way, then that's good for me, because that means I'm going to be able to increase my detector's performance. And of course, it's lighter than the Equinox. It's going to be stronger than the Equinox. We're not going to have the problems that existed in the beginning with certain things around the Equinox. And it's got a wider multi-frequency band. So the multi-IQ technology that they're putting to the Equinox has been expanded. That's where I like to know more about it. That is where I get the interest coming through. So they've widened the multi-IQ tech from the Equinox into the new detector, which means that it will be more stable than the Equinox. So you'll be able to identify targets better with this new machine. It'll be a deeper seeking machine. There's no two ways about it. It'll be deeper seeking on small targets. There's no two ways about it. And it collapses down. I don't think there'll be any aftermarket stuff for this machine. So I think we'll probably see possibly the end of. I mean, I might be completely wrong, by the way, but I don't think we'll see the carbon fiber shaft systems in the aftermarket section for this detector. I don't think we'll see the arm cups. I don't think we'll see a range of search coils, because I think Minelab have covered it all. And it's got the 2D screen, and it's got better waterproof features. But another thing that I like about this detector, and I'm not going to waffle on all night about it because I've got other things to talk about, but the audio system on my Equinox, for me personally, isn't the best. I don't enjoy the particular headphones that I use with the Equinox. And I've been quite honest about this right from the start. I don't think the wireless headphones for the Equinox are up to scratch for me personally. Lots of people like using them, that's fine. But for me, I demanded a better set of quality headphones. And I'm going to get it with this new machine. It's a completely different audio system, completely different headphones, everything else ties in. So it's going to be a very, very interesting detector. A very, very interesting detector. But however, it's not going to suit everybody. And if people can't afford to pay the price of this detector, that's good. That's fine. That's because their budget doesn't stretch that far. And I don't want people to think they're losing out on anything because they can't afford it. It's just like everything in life. If something new comes out and it attracts your eye towards it, then you're going to be interested in it. But we've got to see how it does in the field, of course, which is all interesting stuff. Right, I've got lots and lots of questions, and I can't really get to grips with them all yet. And I think Ryan's right, actually. I think they've looks like they've listened to the detectorists, which is good, which is what it's all about. It's, you know, there's no two ways about it. This is going to be a terrific detector, but we've got to make sure it does what it says on the tin. Very true about you've got to walk over it, but the 10B5 coil tech guy got off Unearthed has brought a permission I've done back to. No, they're brilliant coils. Brilliant coils. The Coiltech range of coils, Andrew, while you're talking about it, Coiltech always made the best coils for me aftermarket. However, they didn't make them for the detectors I was using at the particular time. But talking to the users over the years about Coiltech, they used to rave about them. And out of the range of Coiltech coils available for the Equinox, the 10B5, for me, personally, is my favourite. Nothing wrong with the 15-inch, nothing wrong with the 14B9, but the 10B5 suits my style of detecting. I want it between the iron. I want it on the stubble fields. It pinpoints perfectly. It's still got the depth. I can swing it all day. It makes the Equinox feel fundamentally a better machine. Russell, my brother works for Mine Lab in Australia, and he told me, don't waste your money. Maybe Unearthed UK contact me. Well, I don't know about that, mate. I've not heard so much. I don't think anybody that works for Mine Lab, Russell, will be saying anything like that, sir. No. Interesting to see how long the battery charge lasts. That's a very good question, Michael. I'm not sure at this stage. I'm not actually sure at this stage where that fits with the battery life yet. And it is an interesting one. I was thinking of changing machine, but reconsidered. I don't think I've got the best. Absolutely, you've got a detector that works perfectly fine for your permissions and the amount of times that you go out and the style of detecting that you do. You absolutely stick with what you're using. You know, there's no pressure on people to say, you know what, I've got to go out there and buy the top of the range detector because the hobby demands it. The hobby doesn't demand it. What demands it is whether or not you're going to be using it week in, week out and pulling fines up from the fields or you're done to death fields, which obviously makes a difference. But yeah, absolutely. Get your best out of your machine. Everybody should be getting the best out of the machine. Usually get someone to buy it on a whim because it looks good, then they can't get on with it and sell it off. Yeah. How many times has that happened? I mean, I noticed with the launch of the Deus 2, I'm using the Deus 2 actually as an example, how many people bought them and then stuck them on eBay, social media, Facebook within a matter of weeks of purchasing, you know, a metal detector that cost quite a lot of money in all aspects, and then just sold them because they couldn't use them properly. You know, it's I'm a great believer, you know, metal detecting is a marathon, not a sprint. And there's too many people, I think, and Jason's hit the nail on the head here. There's too many people in the hobby that come into the hobby and they expect to hit the ground running and they run before they can walk. And we see this all the time at Unearthed here. You know, I mean, some of the stories me and Melanie could tell. I mean, we can't, for obvious reasons, say too much, but you could literally write a book on the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the world of detecting. I mean, I always remember, and I've probably said this on lives before, a guy bought a metal detector off us about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a Fisher F44, the weatherproof detector, which is, you know, it's a single frequency detector. It was a great little machine for the money. And the guy was rather excited. And he said to me on the phone when he bought it, he said, can it find gold? I said, of course it can find gold. It can find all the metals that are under the ground that you may walk over if you're lucky enough. But you've got to make sure that you put the hours in to get the rewards out. It's not a matter of just walking in any field or going onto any beach and find gold straight away. You've got to put the hours in. You've got to persevere. It's a marathon, not a sprint. He rang up 2 weeks after purchase demanding his money back, actually. And I said, well, you can't have your money back because you've used the detector. There's nothing wrong with the detector. It's perfectly fine. So there's no way you can get your money back. Why do you want your money back? He said, because I haven't found gold yet. And at that point, I could have done one or two things. I could have put the phone down and gone upstairs to have a lie down in a dark room, or blasted him. And so I blasted him, basically. I just said, listen, it could take you 10 years to find gold. I've known friends of mine that have never even found a gold ring yet. Been detecting for 25 years. Found gold coins, but not a gold ring. There's people out there found gold rings, but not gold coins. There's people out there have never found gold. You've got to make sure you put the hours in, persevere, and have the patience to do it. If you haven't got the patience to do it, you may as well start golf or, I don't know, Sunday League football. Let's have a look what's going on here. Piston Spy. New headphones. Proprietary wireless connection technology means less headphone choice. The 10x5. Oh, hang on. I'm missing a lot of messages here. 10x5 all the way. Absolutely. Absolutely. Dave Reed's on. Hi, mate. How are you? Technical problems. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Simplex plus the D-Tech coil XP says, yeah, absolutely. It's got good stuff. You know, you stick with what you've got and you're using. Could be the best machine in the world, but experiencing the fleshy bit between the headphones is 80% of the performance. Absolutely. I mean, how many, I think about the metal detectors I've used over the years that have been pretty basic compared to today's metal detectors, but I found plenty of stuff in them. And the reason why I found plenty of stuff in them, because I spent the hours in the field doing it. So yeah, all good stuff. I'm still getting to grips with the Legend. So much to learn. I'm not going to consider a new one yet. No, you could use that Legend, Kev, for 5-10 years. And you could still, I'm learning the Legend at the moment. I could easily give up on it because I'm used to my Equinox, but I won't because I know how good the machine is once I've mastered it. Absolutely. There's one thing I will say about these new detectors. And I'll tell you what it is in a minute. Where we are. So we've got, plus some of these YouTubers buy a new machine because it will guarantee views and all. That's true, yeah. It's the world we live in. It's like everything. It's like everything that's launched. No matter what, there's always going to be people on social media saying, look at this, how good it is. It's just the way it is. Are you giving somebody a rollick in there, Mel?
He was licking his paw and he got that excited he licked the city as well as his.
I'm going to have to be fitter if I'm going to be digging deeper holes. Yeah, it's true, Alan. Well, I mean, anyway, listen, I'm in for a Manticore, and the reason why I'm in for it because it's got my interest. But what I will say about metal detectors in general before we move on to the next subject is this: there seems to be a battleground going on between metal detecting manufacturers, which is fine, which is good. It keeps everybody on the toes. And they're all trying to outdo each other. And I think instead of outdoing each other with raw performance, which I love, and simplicity, which I love, they seem to be cramming in too many features for me nowadays. The metal detector manufacturers think it's in their wisdom that it's best to cram as much features, regardless of whether it's difficult to use and understand and takes months and months of twiddling and exploring the menu systems than actually focusing on raw performance and simplicity. So wouldn't it be good if the manufacturers actually stepped back a little bit and thought, well, I'll tell you what we're going to launch. We're going to launch a detector that actually is easy to use, ticks all the boxes, lightweight, wireless, waterproof, that sort of thing. But is actually a joy to use and an almost, and I say almost in brackets, an almost switch on and go detector. Now, for me, as a seasoned detectorist for over 40 odd years now, I still got more enjoyment out of using some of the older machines, which were almost switch on and go detectors, than I do now with these vast menu systems. And I think, there's people out there that enjoy using detectors that are crammed with features so they can explore and they can be a bit nerdy in the field. The nerds, I call them, because there is an element of nerds in the detecting hobby that just want feature after feature after feature so they can twist, mess about in the back garden, test beds, etc. But for me as a detectorist, the clock is always ticking. I want to be out in the field. I want maximum performance of that detector right away without messing about or with the threat of one single setting that could cock the whole lot up. And I'll give you an example of that. I used to use a machine called the White's XLT, and I love that machine. I found a lot hammered with it. And when I'm saying a lot of hammered, I mean a lot of hammered. I also use their it's Big Brother, but they called it a Big Brother, but it was more of a sideways move, which was a White's DFX machine. Now, they were complicated detectors to get to grips with because it had a vast menu system, and you only had to do one or two wrong things with that detector settings wise, and it would ruin the whole experience for you out in the field. Now, when you're out in the field detecting, right, and that field's going to be available 12 months of the year, that's fine, because you can scratch your head, you can go back home, you can get your you can get your book out and start thinking, what have I done wrong? But if you're on a field that the clock's ticking because the farmer's going to seed it the very next day, and you're demanding maximum performance from that detector right there, right now, right at that moment, because you know you can't walk off that field, because when you walk off it, it won't be available for another 12 months. That's when it gets frustrating. So if the manufacturers are watching this, and I know some of them do watch this YouTube channel and these live streams, have a little think about concentrating on performance, maximum performance, tick all the boxes with the waterproof and wireless, everybody, or even weatherproof. Actually, weatherproof would be better in a lot of ways, because then they wouldn't have to go to the extreme lengths of making it waterproof to 25 feet or whatever it is. If you make it weatherproof, that's fine, because people can get away with that. They can live with that. But simplicity has got to be the key. Simplicity has got to be the key. Absolutely. You want to turn that machine on, you want to set the sensitivity, you want to set the volume, choose your mode, away you go. I'm just going to be bringing up some bits and pieces, folks. Surf side down. I don't think we've had surf side down on the live streams before, so it's good to see it. Manticore could be a game changer at the beach if the 2D ID will show the difference between. I'm not sure, Dan. I know the 2D screen will be interesting for target identification, in so much as it will give you a better choice of whether you want to dig that target or not. Whether it shows, shapes, sizes, etc., we'll have to see. Just thinking outside, we ever do. Listen, the Equinox, Sam. There's a lot of people that use the Equinox and they overcomplicate the Equinox. I keep the Equinox extremely simplistic to use. I don't use it on 50 tone. Most of the time I'm detecting on 2 tone. I sometimes drop over to 5 tone. I keep it on field 1 mostly. I have the volume set at maximum. I never have it maxed out sensitivity wise. I toggle around with the iron bias a little bit and the recovery speed a little bit, but that's pretty much about it. And if I'm picking up cut quarters at 3 or 4 inches down, which is fairly decent, for a tiny cut quarter on mineralized ground, your detector's working pretty well. But if you want me to spend 10 minutes with you in the field on the next dig when you attend, we can do that, Sam. Not a problem. Absolutely not a problem. XP says, Jimbo, the Simplex is a great machine. Yes, it is. Absolutely. The G2 Plus was, I mean, they are. The G2 Plus. We may as well say it. The G2 Plus was my go-to machine for 6-7 years. It wasn't your G2 Plus, Mel. Oh, okay. It was Melanie's G2 Plus, folks. It was a pink one. That Technetic sent. No. Don't get into a debate about it. Melanie got sent a G2 Plus pink, and she was never really going to use it. So I tested it in the field one day, and it was like a light bulb moment on the sites that I detect on. Highly mineralized, arable land, Roman sites, medieval sites, that sort of thing. And that machine was lightning quick. We've been over fields where, we're pretty much blitzed with other detectors, and this thing was just bringing stuff out the ground left, right, and center. So the G2 Plus for me was one of the best machines ever. It found me more gold, ancient gold. It found me more hammered coins. It found me more denarius. Found me artifacts, some of the best artifacts ever from the Bronze Age period onwards with that G2 Plus. But wasn't the finished article. It used to chew through 9-volt batteries, so we had to go to a lithium-based power source, which were difficult to get hold of and expensive, but the battery power lasted longer. It wasn't weatherproof. You know, there was little niggly things that could have been improved with the G2 Plus, and I badgered Technetics, the manufacturer link that I had at the time, relentlessly about changing some of the features. Change the 9-volt over to a AA battery system, or weatherproof the box, you know, that sort of thing. I had a couple of different features in there, interchangeable frequencies possibly, but it wasn't going to happen. But that was, like Dale said, that was such a good machine. You know, that machine was electric. It was the best kept secret in detecting at the time. But things move on. Things move on. Minelab machine can only be a good thing for consumers. DS2 Legend Manticore at the same. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I was having a little bit of a debate with somebody on Messenger only a few nights ago about this. And they were saying, you know, they were questioning why Minelab had brought a new machine out, saying, well, you know, why would Minelab bring a new machine out when there's already new machines coming on the market? Surely they would sit back and wait until the crowd had quietened down and then launched, you know, the Manticore. However, what he failed to realize is the Equinox is now probably what? It must be 5-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old at least. So they were overdue bringing out a high-end detector anyway. And of course, the CTX, I mean, the CTX must be 12-year-old at least, probably even longer than that. So Minelab were always due to bring out a new machine. And I probably think they would have brought a new machine out if it wasn't for COVID. I think we'd have probably seen the Manticore by now. But, you know, this is the world we live in. Dave says, if I was going to buy a simple machine, it would be the Vanquish. There you go. Vanquish of brilliant detectors. If you understand that they're a simplistic machine, they've got really interesting multi-frequency tech in there, just so good. The 440 is so good for the money. I mean, why people would buy older single frequency detectors now at a similar price is beyond me, because the 440 is probably the best machine out there, along with the Simplex in the price bracket. Yeah, Fisher were brilliant machines. F75s was fantastic. I mean, my F75 was, I'm talking about the G2 Plus actually, because Dale triggered me memory about the G2 Plus. But before the G2 Plus came along, I was a T2 F75 user, probably more actually leaning over to the F75. And that was a terrific single frequency detector. Deep, sensitive, well-balanced, problematic with hot rocks, problematic with noise before they brought the DST version out with the digital shield technology built into it. I used to come off the fields with headaches because it was that noisy at times in the iron and on the rural sites that we used to detect on. But I tell you what, found me some deep Roman brooches, hand hammered. So we've got Jim. Oh, I've got so many. Going forward, will there be any midweek digs? Yes, there absolutely will be some midweek digs, Jim. The problem we've got, and it's not a problem as such, but we've only got a small-ish, what's the word I'm looking for, Mel?
Number.
We've only got a limited group of people, for obvious reasons, Jim, of course, because we don't want to open up our dig group to become a commercial operation, of course. But the midweek digs, people will have to commit, and there'll be smaller numbers. So we could get away with a midweek dig on a Wednesday, for example, on some of the smaller farms that we've got in the bag. We could maybe get away with 20 detectorists at a time, but people would have to commit, because there's a lot of work that goes involved. There's a lot of work and time and effort that goes into organising the organised digs, of course, as you know. But yes, midweek digs are definitely on the menu. Definitely on the menu. And we've done a midweek dig. We did a midweek dig last year at Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, and it was just electric. It was just the best dig. You know, we were off the day before, we were off the day after for a few days. Everything was relaxed, and we found some gear. I mean, there was hammered coins and silver milled coins coming up left, right, and centre on that particular day, and that was on a Wednesday, I think. So yeah, we're going to be doing midweek digs. We just got to make sure we get the right amount of people to make it viable. I love my Eurotech Pro. Still have it. Good machines. Really good machines for the money. It's not always about the machine. It's about the land also. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you've got poor land, you can have the best machine on the planet. But you ain't going to find anything because there's nothing on it. So, yeah, absolutely. Or you can, or the vice versa to that one is, I don't know who that is that said that because it's a Facebook user. But you can have the best land and the worst machine. Now, you will find one or two things, but you'll miss so much. Russell, I don't know if Russell's on there. Where's Russell? I don't know if I can't see. There's that many things. Where we've got Russell. I'll stick to my Knox 800. Jimbo, what coil do you use? Dave Taylor, actually, yes. David Taylor, I'm up for midweek digs. There you go. The midweek digs would be interesting because we've got small farms that we wouldn't necessarily be able to put an unearthed group dig on because some of these farms are only 40 or 50 acres, but they're crammed full of interesting finds and artifacts. So a smaller group of people, and the farmer would be happy, and some of the landowners would be happy for a smaller group of people, and the parking would be better with a small group of people. So, yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Right, so we've got that going on, so which is good. So if so just for recap on that, Hang on a minute.
Can you say hello to Ryan's little girl, Isabella?
Can I say hello to Ryan's little girl, Isabella? Hello, Isabella. There you go. Are you watching with your dad? Yeah?
Yeah. She doesn't believe it's live.
She doesn't believe it's live. Well, it is live. It's as live as we're going to get it. And she has to go to bed and be a good girl tonight. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, there you go. That's very sweet. Very, very sweet. Where are we at? We've got Ricky Shimmin on. Good to see Ricky, actually. Lovely man. Midweek sounds good for him. I just think the midweek, a Wednesday dig would be good for us. And then, I mean, we'll still concentrate on the Sunday digs. But I think it gives us a little bit of a different dimension. And of course, it gives me the chance to detect as well, folks. So there you go. Dale says, I wish I'd kept the G2 Plus. I know. Listen, Dale, I've got quite a few G2 Plus machines here. If you ever want to use one, I can send one down. You can have it for a couple of months if you need to. Because I tell you what, they're a hammered hoover, them things. Absolutely fantastic. Digger Dan's on. Hey, everyone, just popped in to say hello before I put the little lad to bed. Might pop back later if you are on. Good to see you, Dan. Hope everything's fine, mate, with you. So we'll give little Isabella a shout out, which is good. And she loved it, which is fantastic. Lee, I've been struggling learning the legend and all its features, especially on pasture. But over the last couple of weeks, my confidence has grown, and I've been able to settle the machine down. Absolutely, which is good, Lee. Which is good. But the key is always going to be keep it simplistic. Don't go overboard with it and run before you can walk. It didn't help, I don't think, being honest, is with all the updates coming so quick. I'm against manufacturers bringing update out in a small window, and it confuses people. And we had a lot of confusion with customers over certain things. And it's happened with other manufacturers as well. It's not just boxed off to the legend. But it's good that you're settling down with it because it's a mighty fine machine. Nothing wrong with the legend machine. Brilliant. I've seen people in different camps really having a go about the legend. But you put the legend up against some of these higher price detectors, they can hold their own all day long. Nothing wrong with them. A lot of factors contribute to finding stuff, decent machine, decent land knowledge of the machine. Absolutely. Do you know what? I mean, there's so many people still go too quick, and you can sit them down without sounding patronizing and say, listen, if you slow your detecting search speed down and you get that coil lower to the ground, you're going to find an immense amount of things more, 90%, 100% more coins and artifacts. But they never listen. And it's because they get into a comfort zone where their body feels comfortable and they're swinging away and they don't realize. If I could take a video of people detecting and then show them it, they'd be like, oh, yeah, you're right. But they can't see themselves detect. So they fall into the bad habit of, and people, if they sort their detecting technique out, and then they say, yeah, you're right, I was going too quick, or I'm lifting the coil at the end of every swing, and then they rectify it, sometimes they fall back into that mode because it's all to do with comfort. They go back into a comfort mode. So yeah, it's all to do with, a lot of it's to do with technique. And luck plays a big part. Sam says, Wednesdays gets us off work, winner. It does. It doesn't get us off work, but it gets me and Melanie out of the office environment for a bit. And I like Wednesday. I think Wednesday digs could be a good thing. And Surfside Dan says hi to Jim. All good. Say hi to Mel from Digger Dan.
Hi, Dan.
In conclusion, there is a lot of great detectors about at the moment. Absolutely is, isn't there? I mean, it's almost the golden age of detecting. There's such a wide variety of choice out there. The thing that kills me off a little bit is when a new machine's launched, the first thing they do is blatter all the magazines out with multiple adverts about how good it is. Double page adverts, treble page adverts, and to be fair, directly from whoever it is that's putting them out there, and they're just not up to scratch. Some of these machines that are being launched now in the 400, 500, 600 quid bracket are just like, they're not as good as people make out, but they hype them up. I think personally, I think you can't go wrong with Nocta, and I don't think you can go wrong with the MyLab machines. I still say you can't go wrong with the Fisher and Technetics machines, but they need to bring a new machine out quick. Instead of sitting back and selling old machines, still get a new machine out, guys. Any news on the group dig venturing into Yorkshire? I've got a friend, I should say, not a guy. I've got a friend that's going to test the land for green waste for us, Jim. So the idea would be sometime in October to go and have a day's detecting in Yorkshire. But I've got this awful feeling there could be green waste on there, Jim. And it's a long way for me to travel from Cumbria into Yorkshire to test for green waste and then drive all the way back. So it makes perfect sense that one of our friends that lives 3/4 of an hour away or less, he can wander over with his detector one day, have a scoot over a few of the fields just to see if there's any green waste on there, because the vast majority of that farm is arable. Evening, Graham and Mel from a Facebook user. Not sure who that is, but good to see. Yeah, there's quite a lot on Facebook watching, actually. I watched a YouTube channel yesterday by BC, and he was swinging the detector so quick he could have swatted some flies. Never going to find anything. No, they don't realise they're doing it, but they must at some point, the penny must drop, because somebody must say to them, hey, listen, see, I don't like doing it on our organised digs, Dale. And the reason why I don't like doing it is because I've got no reverse gear. I've got, what I say is how it is. And I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for, Mel?
What?
I'm too, I've got no filter, have I not?
No, you haven't.
And I need to be more diplomatic. So I'll go up to somebody and say, your search speed's all wrong. Your technique's bad. But it can upset people. And you know, I can understand that. I can understand it upsetting people that they're told that the detecting style's crap and they're not going to find anything detecting like they're doing. You know, I've seen people with a search coil literally 8 to 10 inches off the surface. And it's because they haven't got the detector set right, or they just fall into this comfort zone and think that they're going to find stuff. And they're not going to do it. And it's so frustrating to see. Ooh, there you go. So weekday digs, the missus said I need to work less. There you go. We're just experimenting, maybe for a I don't know 6-month period. We're still going to do the Sunday digs when they come around, but we're going to also fit in a Wednesday, periodically a Wednesday dig, and of course I've got to fit my own detecting around that as well, which is going to be interesting. And Mel's got to have a day off. Hi Graham, I remember you recently posting a picture of your Equinox 800. I seem to think you had a smaller Caltech coil on it. Do you use this often, or is it just for iron infested sites? No, I don't know who this is actually, because it's got no name. I use the 10x5 coil on my Equinox 90% of the time now. I've even used it with some degree of success on pasture. It's dynamite in a small package. That's how I can put it. It's a powerful deep seeking little coil, but it's ultra quick. It's great amongst the iron, and it's also brilliant for pinpointing. And it's light as well. It makes the machine fundamentally feel better. It's a fantastic search coil. In fact, sticking my neck on the block, it's the best search coil out there for the Equinox. Where are we at? History Unearthed. Speaking of mags, when is the next Detectorist mag? It's an interesting one, and I'm glad you brought it up because this was on our agenda for speaking about tonight. So the magazine, just bear with me a sec before. Right, let me get this. There's that many questions being bombarded at the moment. So the magazine, I'm gonna have a little bit of a rethink of the magazine, because we put a lot of time and effort into the Detectorist magazine, and it takes a lot of time, and it costs a lot of money, and it's free, but we need to see it work better and get a better reach, because we had thousands of people subscribe to it, but there was problems with the subscription, and lots of people were saying they couldn't get it, and then we put it on the website so people could read it directly off the website. The magazine has got a future, the Detectorist magazine. There's no two ways about that, but I need to rethink how we're going to do it. So it's due out. It's due out, actually. It's due out anytime soon, but we just need to rethink how we're going to actually get the best out of the Detectorist magazine. So that's probably about as good as I can do it, I think. As good as I can say at this moment in time. I need to speak to the editors as well about how we're going to change things. Whereabouts in Yorkshire? Near Pontefract, Andrew. Not too far from Pontefract. I would say an 8 to 10 mile radius of Pontefract. I think. Never be afraid to ask a fellow detectorist a question. One quick tip from someone with more experience could change your detecting forever. I'll be going full Rushton on Sunday, 10 by 5. Listen, they're a brilliant coil. And I'll tell you why they're a brilliant coil, right? This gentleman here proves it to me. Graham, if you see me doing wrong, come over and give me a kick up the backside. Andrew Tiffin came on our Unearthed Organised dig last week. And Andrew, you'll see him on the latest video. Our latest video on YouTube, if you watch, Andrew was one of the guys he found too hammered. And he bought on the day a 10B5 Equinox coil from me. And he said, I'm going to put it on at dinner time. I'm going to use it at dinner time. He put it on at dinner time, went straight back to the field he was searching on in the morning, where he'd already had hammered. And he got the most exquisite Elizabeth I penny, I think, with a fantastic portrait and backside obverse. And he come back singing the coil's praises because it just works so well. So David, we're talking about the 10B5 a lot, aren't we? But you won't be disappointed with that coil, mate. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Graham, you've seen me do anything wrong. We've had that one, haven't we? I'm the same. Always glad for advice. Ricky, you're doing everything right, mate. You're not far off your first hammered coin, believe me. The Equinox Plus Go Find deal is fantastic. The Equinox Plus, yeah, it is. So the Equinox deal at the moment is obviously the Equinox detector and a free detector, which is the Go Find 11, which is about encouraging the youngsters to start detecting, which brings me on nicely to the next. There you go. Look at that, Dave. 5 miles from you, not far at all, Dave. That's if it comes off. We've got to remember that the biggest threat to the hobby isn't these anti-detecting idiots that are out there screaming and shouting about us not doing what we should be doing, and also we shouldn't be using detectors on fields, folks, even though the archaeological layers have been destroyed for many, many decades beforehand. It's just ridiculous. The biggest threat to the hobby is green waste, and I've got a horrible feeling that it could be on this farm. So we've got to check for green waste first. If it's got no green waste on it, we could have up to 5 or 6 digs on here, and it's in a really good area too. Fingers crossed. Keep everything crossed. Get them told, Graham, they need to know. Well, it's just hard doing it, isn't it?
Dave Taylor said that needs to phone me this week about if he wants to come.
Yeah, if you want to come Sunday, Dave, on the dig on the 11th, Dave Taylor, this Dave Taylor here, we've got that many Dave Taylors. There's upwards of about 8 Dave Taylors that detect now, yeah, which is absolutely amazing. It's 8, get this right, 8 Dave Taylors detect. We've got 3, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 around here, haven't we?
We've got 3 in the dig.
We've got 3 in the dig, yeah. crazy. Right, so green waste is the green waste is the problem. That's the biggest threat to the hobby. If it hasn't got it on, we'll be all right. And that goes on to love the drive up the M6 on Sunday going to dig. Just off the junction is a garage at £1.24 a litre. Never seems to be open. It probably shut its doors when the £1.24 price hit the pumps, Jim. That's probably why. Give us a ring tomorrow, Dave Taylor. Yeah, absolutely. Melanie just said okay, which is great. Now, just while you're on, which is interesting, I think, some of you would have noticed the detecting show that's currently airing on Channel 5, and we featured quite heavily on it. I'm not embarrassed to say, by any means. And I thought it was a brilliant snippet of how we run our organised digs and how detecting should be, and it was an enjoyable experience. Certainly an enjoyable experience for the dig group members to see themselves on television. Not every day you see yourself on telly. But I was reading some of the comments, actually, which I find interesting. I got to an age where I ignore a lot of the silliness on social media, and on Facebook in particular, because it's always Facebook, let's face it. I mean, we get no problems off YouTube. We get no problems off Instagram. And I said this last time, all the toxic waste from humans always seems to end up on Facebook. And it's just the nature of the beast. And I was reading some of the comments from posts about the show, and I'll give you some examples of them. This is going to ruin metal detecting because the farmers are already fed up of all people door knocking. It's just going to bring more people into the hobby and ruin it for the likes of me and you that have been doing it for 10 years plus. And that was mirror imaged quite strongly across social media. Now, here's the thing. My answer to that is this. The hobby of metal detecting shouldn't be boxed off to the elite and the people that have been doing it the longest. Everybody, single person on the planet that's interested in metal detecting should be allowed to give it a go at least once. And if they enjoy it, they should be able to be encouraged to detect and enjoy detecting. Now, it's always been landowners' discretion if they want to let somebody on with a metal detector or not. Regardless of how many people are out there, it's going to be, quote with the brackets, it's going to be even harder to get permission now with all these new detectorists coming into the hobby. Well, they've got to remember these people that say this, that they were new detectorists at one time, and they were still driving around knocking on farms that other people have been detecting on. But because they've got embedded in the hobby now and they've got their feet under the table, they think now they're in an elite or elitist group of detectorists where only they can detect in their particular towns, villages and counties, and nobody else can, which is completely wrong. But what's interesting is the comments made on some of the posts about the detecting program are left by the same troll type characters that have been doing the rounds as long as I've been on Facebook. So my advice to people, don't bite, ignore them, because a lot of them are crazy. They're literally crazy. They think that only they can detect. It's just madness. It's just absolute madness. But I have to say the latest episode I thought was pretty good. Oh, here we are, look. Here we are. Bill, the legend himself. Bill Leyland's on. Bill would have seen the programme on Channel 5 the other night. Bill was a gentleman that found the Bronze Age spear on the dig, which is fantastic. He's a legend, is Bill. And I thought he's actually put a comment up, actually, just Bill. I thought the Channel 5, even though Bill starred on it, he was a star man on it, I think. I thought the Channel 5 programme was a little too gushing for my liking. Our segment was by far the best. I agree. Without being too biased, Bill, I think the Cumbria segment was fantastic. And it showed detecting in its true light. And you came across really well. Gareth came across well with his coin that he found, his Henry III penny. And, of course, Anita, who featured on it, was really good. But, of course, let's not forget the two farmers as well. Them two young farmers had no idea on how to swing a detector. They were landowners. They wanted to uncover history on their farm, and we tried our best for them to do it. The father had COVID, so he couldn't do it. And the farmer's son and daughter ended up taking up the reins, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. In fact, they walked off with my Equinox onto the top fields, and I didn't see them for hours on end. They just loved it. Here we go. A little bit of conversation actually going on. I don't know if you're still on here, Bill, but this gentleman here is Andrew Tiffin. He came on our dig last week, Bill, but I didn't get a chance to introduce you to him. But he's saying, "Hi, Bill, I'm Andrew. Graham mentioned you're a fellow Leyland man." Andrew Tiffin lives in Leyland, Bill. So at some point in the future, you, Wayne, Bill, and a few more need to get together, I think, because you all come from the same town. Car share, save fuel, makes sense. He's a really nice fella, is Andrew, just as Wayne and Bill and Steve. Wow, got it out. I love it.
You manage anybody's.
Well, I can read them off the screen, Mel. Anyway, so there you go. So there is an element of this elitism creeping into the hobby. You know, I mean, I know it's difficult for people. I know it's difficult for people at times. And I know the people that have been doing the hobby for a long time, like me, you know, for whatever reason, may frown upon a load of detectorists coming along. But you've got to remember that, you know, I would act as an ambassador to those people rather than saying you can't come into the hobby because you're going to ruin it because the landowners are going to get fed up of you door knocking on these farms. Be an ambassador to them and start encouraging them to do what you did when you set off detecting 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. You know, it's all about keeping it small. It's all about keeping it real. It's not about targeting the big farms that already detectorists have on. You know, just enjoy the hobby. Everybody should be allowed to enjoy it. It's ridiculous to think that there's people out there saying there's only us that can detect because we've been doing it the longest. A used lot can't come on board. And these television programs, you've got to remember, these television programs that are coming on, good, bad, or ugly, right, are putting the hobby in a good light. They're putting the hobby in a good light. They're showing people that there's interaction. Look at our snippet. We're showing landowners how to detect on their own farms. So that proves that the relationship between the detectorist and the landowner is solid. It's absolutely solid. You know, Melanie's giving me a dirty look.
I'm not giving you a dirty look.
Go and get me a drink of water, Mel, if you don't mind, please. I said, please, go on.
What's that? Which one?
Lee, how are you? Just having a little bit of banter. Your special water, your loopy water. Lee Gasgarth. Hi, Graham. How's it going? Hi, Lee. Good to see you, sir. I don't think we've had you on before, Lee, to be fair. And XP says exactly 100%. It's the same people all the time that have to have a knock. You know, it's just crazy to think that these people have this elitism attitude that thinks nobody else can come into the hobby and detect. You know, they've got to make sure that they're the people that have been doing it the longest and the most experienced. Just pass that experience over. Thanks, Mel. Pass that experience over and show these people how to detect properly. Show them how to gain permission. Show them how to use a detector properly. Show them, if you get a chance, of course, the rights and wrongs. It just frustrates the life out of me. And then Russell says it, look, I think. Why don't you talk about how to educate new detectorists as easy for you and them with permissions? But Joe Bloggs thinks he can go see a field and go. And do you know what? There is an element of that, actually. You know, we sell lots of detectors, lots and lots of metal detectors to the public. And we always make sure that they get the NCMD leaflets. They also get the information that we give. And, you know, people sometimes think they can, that little bit of wasteland that they played on when they were kids, that little 2.5 acres of wasteland where they rode the BMX over and the whatever else they did on there. They could think, well, there'd be stuff on there because we lost stuff on there when we were kids. I'll take my detector on there. And what they fail to realize is there's lots of people out there that own particular plots of land. So every piece of land that you see is owned by somebody. Right, I've got to go to get this sorted with Bill. So there, Bill's put, whoa. Bill's put, sorry, Leyland Bill at gmail.com. So that must be for you, Andrew Tiffin. Bill's put his email address up. I've probably lost some info there, but he's put his email address up, Andrew, for you to drop Bill an email. And I know Bill, and I've known Bill a long time. He's a personal friend of mine. And after meeting Andrew, I know you both get on like a house on fire because you're both nice people. And Wayne's a nice person as well. Wayne Heston King and Steve. You all come from the same village or the same town. It makes sense to think about car sharing because it saves so much money on fuel. The farmers will talk to other farmers and recommend the Unearthed dig group. Well done. Yeah, I mean we don't. Yeah, you're right, Wayne. It word of mouth works with farmers as well. I agree. I encourage people to give it a go. When I'm on the beach and people come over to talk about their finds, I happily chat away about the hobby. In fact, I'm sure the NCMD ask that we do. Absolutely. It's just about sharing best practice. He says, I just think there's too many people out there knocking the hobby. And that knocking of the hobby comes from within. There's enough knockers of the hobby outside of the tent rather than the people trying to, do it from within. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is really. Andrew, thanks for the kind words, Graham. Bill, I'll be in touch with you, sir. There you go, Bill. Andrew, really nice fella. You all get on great. I know you will. A Facebook user, I'm not sure who it is. Melanie might better fill me in with details. Hi all. I reckon the more good exposure for the hobby, the better. I'd rather see those shows over news reports on Nighthawkers. There you go. I mean, that, to me, that should be kept up on the screen for quite some time. It's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's Facebook. I don't know whether it's the people that lurk on the fringes of the hobby. Chris Linton. Well done, Chris Linton. I'm going to just have a little drink of this water. This magic water, actually. He says, yeah, well done, well said. Them shows are done in a responsible manner. They've got finds liaison officers on site. They've got archaeologists on site. They've got identification purposes on site. When we did the Great British Treasure Hunt with Henry Cole, we had finds liaison officers on site. We did everything by the book. And there's still people knocking. What do they want us to do? Go on these television shows and detect without permission? They're just. And of course, like I said, it's the toxic sewage pipe that is Facebook. There's a toxic sewage pipe is Facebook. You never see any problems with YouTube, Instagram, even TikTok. You don't really get a lot of problems on there, which you would expect. But Facebook, God almighty, it's a toxic place, that place. Graham, Lee Gasker, is the Unearthed Organised digs just for customers who have bought detectors off you? Yes, Lee, they are. So the Unearthed Organised digs were formed purely on the back of me and Melanie's appreciation of people buying their detectors from us. And it was just our way of saying thanks. We don't do a commercial enterprise. However, it's very, they are very successful. There is another way you can join the Unearthed Organised digs if you wish, Lee, and that's to join the membership section on YouTube. And once you become a member on YouTube, there's loads of perks on there, actually. It's not just access to the Unearthed Organised digs, but you can get access through there. Great show, mate. Don't worry. And Dale starred on it, didn't he? I bet Dale wanted to mention it, actually, but he didn't have the face. But I'll mention it. Dale actually starred on the latest episode of Digging for Treasure Tonight. And he did well. I thought it was a great little snippet he had on there detecting. Well said at History Unearthed. It's all about getting out in the country, being free, having time away from the crap of life. Finds are a bonus. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Gene Simpson's on. Hi, Gene. Hope you're well. Up to 50 people watching, which is good. Nighthawkers. I nearly shot one as I was shooting on my land. Nighthawking is a dangerous pastime. Well, the thing is, Russell, you see, these people at Nighthawk, they're not detectorists. They're just thieves with detectors. They've got their hands on a detector thinking they can go and plunder sites. And that's the problem, you see, Russell. What would happen if you shot one? You shot a Nighthawker by mistake. Would you get into trouble? You probably would. You'd probably get criminalized for doing it. I mean, I'm not saying it's the rights and wrongs of it, but, you're out there innocently doing what you're doing, vermin control or whatever, and you come across a Nighthawker. When you put a lamp on a Nighthawker, do the eyes shine like a fox or a rabbit? Who knows? It's all crazy. Yes, Andrew. Hence, when you asked me if I was on Facebook, and I said no. If it wasn't for Unearthed, Andrew, and the way we run our business, we'd be miles away from Facebook. I mean, there's people that go sour overnight on Facebook for whatever reason. You can be best friends with them one day, the next day they've gone sour for whatever reason because you probably said something that they don't agree with. There just seems to be a lot of toxic people that lurk on Facebook, and I think a lot of them suffer from lack of sleep, so they'll stay up till midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just lurking, and then it overtakes their lives, and then all of a sudden they're on Facebook 12, 14 hours a day just lurking around. It's just ridiculous. It's just a toxic place. You know, it's just, we need a new platform for people to enjoy. We also have the problem of YouTube fakers who seem to post regular videos of how can I believe I found this when they obviously haven't. No one is looking at that all the time. No, I agree that there is an element on YouTube that, and I've seen it. I've seen there's a lot of bad practice on YouTube regarding detecting. And that's a problem, really, in so much as when they become quite famous on YouTube, if that's the right word, or they get a decent following on YouTube, then they start thinking about ways of bringing more people in to watch the channel. And that's when they start burying certain items. So if you watch my YouTube channel, I've been lucky enough to find lots of nice coins and artifacts over the years, which has always been the whole reason why I detect. You know, I love the outdoors and the fresh air, but at the end of the day, I want to find stuff. But there's a heck of a lot I haven't captured, and there's a heck of a lot of junk I haven't captured. But there's a lot of people that pull coins and artifacts up out the ground that have that familiar, non-found look about them, shall we say. But it's a good point, David. Absolutely a good point. I love watching these shows. I love to see what the people find. I think there's enough history locked in the ground for everyone. I absolutely agree. I don't know who that is, but you're right. Absolutely. Andrew says, I think it's a brilliant program. Even got the better half interested, and she's never shown an ounce of interest in the hobby. That's good, Andrew. You know, you're the sort of guy that speaks quite plainly and openly, and you tell me if it was rubbish, so that's good. Nighthawkers are vermin, so vermin control is fine. Just the warm-up act for Unearth, mate. You were the star of the show on Friday. Well, do you know what, mate? I mean, I'm not one for giving you a fiver every time you say some nice things, but I might owe you a few quid now. So there you go. Thanks for that, Dale. But all jokes aside, I thought it was a good episode. I think, you know, it was a really good episode. And Jim is saying good evening to Jean, which is good news. So we did, yes, we did. We can't say too much about that, Mel, because it's not giving the right impression out, is it? Jean says back, hi to Jim. That's good. Jean's still on. So yes, so there's a lot to there was a lot to cover there, wasn't there? We covered a lot of interesting information, the new machine launch and the hype behind that, and the excitement behind the launch of a new machine, which is always a good thing for the hobby, to see if it's going to be the real deal. And then we've also been talking about the Wednesday Digs TV program, everything else that goes with that. And then the wider picture is there's this element of detectorists out there that think they're elite. They're not elite. You know, I mean, I was talking to a guy recently from down south. And I don't know how people think about this, but I was quite concerned about it, that this gentleman, John, who'd been detecting for some time on this particular farm, had in his, you know, bless his heart, had decided to take on a friend or somebody that he'd met in the detecting circles onto his own permission and say, listen, you want to come on my permission? John's had this permission for a number of years, found some nice things on it, and said to this particular gentleman, would you like to come on? And he'd come on with him and enjoyed the day, but then to John's horror, he found that the guy had been going on behind his back, had rocked up to the farm, got permission himself, and then decided to claim the farm as his own. So, you know, the etiquette around detecting is spoiled there, and the trust element of people taking other people onto farms is gone. You know, it happens. It's not good. It's not good. Kez Eve, the name of the program is Digging for Treasure Tonight. So if you go on to Catch Up TV, it was on Friday night, Channel 5 at 9 o'clock. And it's Michaela Strachan and Dan Walker that present it, and we have a slot. We have a slot there. We had a slot there on Friday, which was good. And then the previous week I had a very small. Okay, Mel. Unearthed is we, Mel.
I know, but I wasn't there. It was you.
Women, mate. Elite, my channel is a household name these days in my house anyway. That's it. You see, the problem is with YouTube is, and I always say this about people. I mean, I'm a great believer that people, if they want to set up a YouTube channel, let them do it. If their passion is to show people honestly, in an honest manner, the finds that they're making, let them do it. Let them do it. I've got nothing against people setting up a YouTube channel for detecting purposes, as long as they don't start taking the piss. That's the first time I've sworn on live stream, Mel. And I've got nothing against people doing it. I think it's a great thing. I think it brings the creative side of people out. It shows you as a person, and you enjoy doing it. You tap into your creative side. The key to it is don't take it too seriously. So if you've got an audience of 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, that's a lot of people. If you crammed 1,000 people into a village hall, it'd have to be some size, you know, and it's a lot, you know. Don't people get hung up? I need 5,000 subscribers. You know, I need 20,000 subscribers. I mean, we're not, you know, how many of you that are watching this are subscribed to the Unearth YouTube channel? There'll be people that are watching this live stream that are not subscribed to our channel. But you can't make people subscribe to your YouTube channel. They're going to have to want to do it and stay as a loyal, you know, a loyal follower of your YouTube channel. And no matter how many people that you get to watch your YouTube video, you're serving a purpose, whether it be 50 people or 1,000 people. You're serving a purpose and you're getting people to watch. So if you upload a YouTube video and it flops, it only flops in your head, because you might have still tapped into 1,000 people, 500 people, 250 people, 50 people. I remember putting a short up because YouTube wanted us to do shorts more, or did, and it got 60 views. And then I thought, oh God, I've got 60 views. You know, it's a really good bit of footage, that coin coming up out the ground. But it only reached 60 people, but it reached 60 people that enjoyed watching it. So it's all about, I think it's a little bit of a friendly competition, YouTube. If you can just bring a little bit of a smile to people's faces and a bit of enjoyment, keep doing it. Keep doing it. So we've got, I think it's fantastic how they made Rashka, well, you people can read what Andrew says. Yeah, she is. She's good. And do you know what, Andrew? She likes detectorists as well. She supports honest detectorists, which is fantastic. I mean, Barford, you know, is an absolute, he's on a different planet. Barford slated her for doing it. I mean, you know, who is he? Nobody listens to him. He's just a voice lost, and he'll die a sad, lonely man. But you're right. I mean, we're in partnership with archaeologists to say, listen, this is what we do as detectorists, because archaeologists need to meet more detectorists. Absolutely do. And this is a great opportunity to see this is what these guys are about. She actually said on Friday night, Andrew, if you listen to it, and I'm sure you did, that detectorists don't do any damage to archaeological layers, because them layers of archaeology have gone. They're interested in the stuff much deeper down that the detectorists can't touch. And it's arable land. So what we're doing, we're picking up the coins and artifacts that are just strewn across the surface. You know, we're saving them from further destruction. It was a light bulb moment that she said, which is brilliant. David Haggett, your best 199 I spent. The 199 for the membership on the YouTube channel is I've said this all along. YouTube take a chunk of that. So don't think we're sat there smoking cigars and eating grapes and drinking the finest wine off the back of the YouTube membership, because we're not, folks. I mean, you know, I haven't got the heart to put it up, but it's 199 well spent, because there's a lot of perks that come with it. I did see Barford's rant. Have you ever thought about setting up your own server, Graham? You could have a dedicated channel. I'm not sure how that would work, Mike, but I would be open to it. I'm sure there'd be people on here much more astute than me about these things. But yeah, I'm open to most things. I'm open to most things, mate. So you can give me any advice on how that would work, Mike. I would do it. Absolutely. I love the idea of being able to tap into technology and do it for our own cause. Detectorists are a major part of the archaeological chain. Absolutely. You think about what detectorists have brought to the table. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. You imagine what would come if detectorists and archaeologists work together. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've slated some archaeologists that have come onto Facebook openly and ridiculed and slated detectorists. I mean, I'm probably the only one that stood up for the detectorists because people are frightened about saying anything. Bollocks to it. One of these archaeological guys from the from the York wing of archaeology. I can't remember his name now. I've got his information saved on my phone somewhere. But he slated metal detectorists, calling us the scum of the earth. So I thought, you know what, you ain't having it, mate. He soon went off Facebook. Without this hobby, no one would learn about our history. But very true, Brian. I wonder if that is the Brian Clark that comes on our digs. It would be interesting to know. Dale says, don't forget we identify archaeological sites as well. Finding the surface finds opens up the gates for bigger things. Absolutely does. Andrew Tiffin, he also says, which is interesting stuff. I'll put it up on the screen. Thank you for your time and effort. You should be definitely put the subscription up. The problem is, Andrew, if you put the subscription up a little bit, then people would say, I ain't paying £2.99 a month. But, you know, you're getting the magazine, you're getting the perks around the detector repairs for one. You're getting money knocked off there as a perk. You can get channel art done now if you wanted, and thumbnails done, or Facebook group and page some thumbnails and artwork done through the group. You get one-to-one films on the subscription on the membership channel. You get loads of stuff, loads of stuff, and you get access to the unearthed organised digs. I mean, unbelievable, isn't it? But it might be, you know. Anyway, we'll see what comes in the future. Good to see you, Sam. Bye for now, mate. Good to see you as always. And of course, Bill is still here, which is good to see. As I've mentioned before, Barford chops and changes any post submitted to him until they bear no resemblance to the original. Dr. Goebbels had nothing on him. Well said, Bill. You tell him. I can't let your statement up on the screen, Russell, even though I'd like to, because you swore. I'd be interested to see where's your land at, Russell. Are you based in Chester, by any chance? Ryan, detectives and archaeologists have been at each other's throats for years. It's nice to see both parties working together. It is, Ryan. Absolutely. I mean, when I went to film for the first one, meeting some of the people from the archaeological world, they were pretty decent folk, you know. They were just nice people that understood what detecting was about and understood why detectorists do it. So do you know what? I was more than happy about. I was very relaxed about it. But yeah, all good stuff. All good stuff. So, folks, just an up. You just see. Oh, near Canterbury. Oh, no, it's not you then. The reason why I asked it is because the last live stream we did, a farmer came on. It might have been somebody in disguise, but a farmer actually came on and said, "How would you? I've been watching your channel for some time, and how would you like to come and detect on our 350 acres at Chester that we've just purchased?" But I didn't take too much notice of it. I should actually see if I could contact him again because that was quite interesting. But Canterbury, nice place, mate. There must be some really historic things there. I'm currently working at one of the oldest Quakers' house, and we have had an Archie, and I mentioned I go metal detecting, and he reacted very negative. Yeah, it's just not good. They don't understand what we do, you see, Andrew. That's what they need educating to a degree. 3 year, yeah. All good stuff. So, so just while you're here, and the numbers are just dropping off away from 50 or 60, actually, but, that's just the way it is. There is a dig coming up on the 11th of September, so members and customers of ours that have bought the detectors are more than welcome to come. Interesting land as well, so it'd be good to see folk there next week. We're just going to do a little bit of logistics, and I need to speak to the farmer and landowner about parking, but we've got a couple of our wonderful marshals going up to visit the farm soon, which is brilliant. Yes, I can see what you mean regarding putting the price up, but 100% sure every member that's been on, did you? Yeah, no, it's, yeah. And then, you know, it's not about the money, actually, but I understand what you're saying, mate. I mean, it's disappointing that Facebook, YouTube take a big chunk out of it. I mean, it's just, they must, no wonder they can put millions and millions of pounds worth into sort of these projects. Most of the time, it's the detectorists discover that triggers the archaeologist to start surveying and mapping around those fields. Absolutely, Jim. If guys find stuff on my land and I have an understanding with my FLO that it never came from here. Right, okay. Moving on. I have an understanding with, if guys find stuff on my land, right, okay. I understand what you're saying. I'll be there. Maybe I'll find a control box folding adapter. Right, that's a cue for David telling me I've got to bring an Equinox folding control box adapter for him. Sorry, Dave, it's my fault, mate. I forgot. I absolutely forgot. Blame me.
Message me.
If you message Melanie on Saturday morning, Dave, because I've got a memory like a sieve at the moment. I don't know why. I'm just not taking. I'm not taking a great deal in. Mel said I'm going through the male menopause.
No, you said it today.
Oh, I said it. There you go.
The menopause.
The menopause. I'll tell you what, the last couple of days I felt like I'm going through something. You're not wrong. When we lifted the flags up, I found a George III penny, and the Archie didn't know what it was. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, John French isn't on here tonight, but John French will tell you a wonderful story, about when he found a gold stater on an archaeological dig. And it was on the last day, and they picked the flag up. He got the signal, and they said, "Oh no, we'll fill it back in, the trench back in." He said, "No, there's a great signal here. Let me dig it." The digger driver was under the authority of the archaeologist, was all ready to fill it back in. John bent down, dug the signal, pristine gold stater. I think it was an Iceni gold stater, perfect condition from East Anglia, and that would have been lost forever because we were on about filling it back in. Michael says we've got that many. Let me just put up a few. It's such a shame, Michael, a match made in heaven. I don't understand why the resistance comes from where the archaeologists first. Where they first cut the teeth in the halls of the colleges and universities. Some of these lecturers are anti-detectorists because they don't understand what we do. These night hawking posters that used to go around in the 70s blurred their vision completely against detectorists. It's wrong. Kez, just wondering how you do your research on fields, please, if you don't mind me asking. It's interesting because, research, you can do as little or as much research as you want regarding metal detecting. So, for example, we all know that most fields around villages will hold fines from, well, depending on how old the village is. So up here in the Lake District and Cumbria, for example, some of the villages go back only as far as sort of Victorian Georgian times. So you would expect to find Victorian and Georgian coins and artifacts from around the fields in the village, with the chance of older stuff just being random finds that have been dropped over the centuries. But some of the villages and towns, or the outskirts of the villages and towns, hold finds of a much older period, from a much older period. So, they're usually the best places to start. Start looking at gaining permission from landowners around towns and villages, but also think about starting small as well. Don't be embarrassed to think about talking to people that own 2 or 3 acres of paddock land where the horses are kept. Some of the best finds have been made off these really small patches, because what the detectorist does, it makes the mistake of thinking and targeting the big farms. So if a farm's not 600 acres or more, he's not bothered. But you've got to remember, these big farms and estates, for example, have been targeted by metal detectors for 25, 30 years or more. And chances are they've been absolutely blitzed to death by everybody with their laser B1, laser B2, and so on, way back then, right to the modern times. So don't be embarrassed to start small. My advice is always start small, then grow outwards. Some of the best finds come off 2 or 3 acre fields. Ryan coming on Sunday, Mel. So Ryan's been given the pass off his boss for Sunday's dig. You're absolutely more than welcome, Ryan. Melanie will be putting your name down pretty damn soon on the list. In fact, believe it or not, Melanie is actually putting your name, Ryan, down on the list for Sunday now, which is brilliant, because if anybody can winkle a hammered coin out, Ryan Chappelow can. Wow. we've just got blitzed with a load of Digger Dan's back. Good lad to see you, Digger Dan. Glad you're okay, mate. You think more channels could be monetized than money YouTube would make? Here's an idea, YouTube. Stop moving the goalposts and let's build on our channel without robbing subs. The problem is with YouTube now is they're in competition with TikTok. So TikTok has got the billions of people watching it. You know, it's the most what's it called, Mel? It's the biggest platform, isn't it?
Yeah.
So YouTube have thought, well, hang on a minute, we're losing a lot of people here to TikTok. We've got to start competing with TikTok. So
the Chinese version's even bigger.
There you go. That's come from the horse's mouth. So they're changing the goalpost around based on round competition, you see. That's what happens when you get to over 50. I know, mate. I am literally dreading the time I become 50, David. I'm literally, you know, it's hard being 41. You know, I mean, I don't even look 41, but I'm dreading the time I become 50. So there you go, folks. I am serious. Hang on a minute. Right, I had a bit of a pause there because I couldn't.
Because you were fibbing about your age.
No, I wasn't. I was reading some of the things. I bought a folding. It's a dog's. My eBay 3D copy broke, so I bought one of you guys. It's shies hot. That's good to see, Russell. I'm glad you did, mate. Good man. I'd be interested to know how many archaeologists are in employment digging sites that are discovered by detectorists. So it would be a pretty boring day with nothing to dig. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. We've got a new member coming through on the membership section, Lee Gasketh. Good to see you, Lee, as a member. Very kind of you. Hi, Graham. I found a Bronze Age hoard on Hilltop Morecambe Bay. Arkis did excavation 2016. Been told since their finds are site finds separate to my hoard. Same hilltop, same place. Defies the Treasure Act. I've contested this, still ongoing. So let me just get this right. I guess this gentleman here, I can't see your name, but is it who's that talking on Facebook, Mel? Oh, Mel's untidy, all right, okay. I think it is the gentleman from Lancaster on our group. No. Oh, what's his name? Matthew Hebworth. I think it's him. So you found a Bronze Age hoard on the hilltop at Morecambe Bay. Arkis did an excavation in 2016. You've been told since that their finds that they made are separate to your hoard, although it came off the same. Yeah, that's a bit wrong, that. Yeah, I understand what you mean. So you found a hoard of Bronze Age items. The Arkis went on there to do a dig and found more, but they're saying they're not linked to the hoard. Bit naughty. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some thinking about that. Yeah, that's not good, mate. A shout out to all unearthed UK marshals. You are grand. They are, mate. And we've got a new one now, Shirley, as well, you know. Brilliant people. Louise as well. She's good. Yeah, they're all good people. If anyone goes out to an unearthed dig and passes Hartlepool, I would dearly love to attend one. Not this week, though. No, you're more than welcome, Michael. If anybody's over the Hartlepool area that comes across, you can more than welcome, mate. Just become a member. That's very nice of you, Lee. I wish I lived closer to you. I know you would, mate, and you'd enjoy him as well, Dan. But you know, the UK on the map, it looks a small, tiny island, doesn't it? But you try driving the length and breadth of it; it's bloody massive. So from Norfolk and East Anglia up to here in the Lake District and beyond is a hell of a trek. But you're more than welcome, mate. If you're ever up this way and you want to dig, I said that to Dale. If he's ever up here and there's a dig on, he can come along. Not a problem. Guest of honour. I'm lucky enough to have 2 permissions, 300 acres in total, and I found Roman, Celtic. You found Roman and a Celtic stater and lots of other stuff. I was asking you, as you seem to have very good land. It's interesting because what we find, and what I find personally, is only a snapshot. It's only a window. It's only a small window of what we find. So overall, we find a heck of a lot of junk, and there's a lot of hours that go by that don't produce a single find. So what you see on the YouTube channel is a condensed version of the day. You know, I can remember speaking to Melanie on a dig not so long ago, and the first 6 hours was nothing came up. I think a couple of silver coins came up. And it was like, wow, this is right in between where all the history is. No one's ever detected on it, but first 6 hours, very little came up. And in the end, we managed to pull a bit of Bronze Age and a few hammered up. But, you know, you never know. So, you know, we've got some good land. We've got some average land and we've got some god-awful land. But it's still a day out and we still try our best to find it. Can't see how you become an Unearth member. Can you point me to the right direction, please? So if you look on the YouTube homepage, there's a membership button, members. I think you might have to pick it up off your laptop or tablet rather than your mobile phone, unless you're using Google Chrome. Good to see you, Matthew, on the Viking. Yes, or the Viking. Yeah, absolutely. That's who it is. Yeah. No, sorry, Digger Dan, you came along. They've been not left to dig, says Jim.
If you can click on anybody's name, like Andrew Allen,
yeah,
and the star next to it, that takes them to
the membership part.
Yeah.
All right. So if you click on Andrew Allen's name, there's like a little icon next to his name. That's the membership section. If you click on that, it'll take you through to the membership section on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. And of course, while we're here talking about YouTube very briefly, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel Unearthed, just press subscribe. It's free. And then if you click that little bell, I never ever plug my YouTube channel. I just let it roll. But if you click the little bell underneath, that means you'll get notifications through any upload or films that we put on. You'll get notification for it. Now, I might be biased here, but I know for a fact that there's a lot of bad YouTube channels, a lot worse than what ours is, but have 2-3 times the amount of people that watch them. I don't know why that is, because the content of our YouTube channel, Unearthed, is up there with the very best. That is me being absolutely biased, but I know it is because people tell me. And we put a lot of time and effort into it, but there's a lot of people, I mean, analytics show it, that are not subscribed to the YouTube channel. Why? I don't know. It's free, folks. Do it. Any news on the wooden? No, nothing, Jim, actually. It's an interesting one. I was thinking about that earlier. The reason why the 2 contacts that I've had, email-wise, I've had nothing back. Now, that's either because they're on holiday and it's going through the same terms as the colleges and universities and the schools, and I might get a reply in maybe next week. Now we're racing through September, or it means that they've read it and it's gone in. So they haven't read it; it's gone into spam, or they've read it and thought, no, we can't help. So there's nothing on the wooden Bronze Age shaft sample just yet. If you fancy popping down here, I think you would enjoy it, as my village is from 2000 BC and fibs are like hammered here to a penny. That would be nice, Russell. I'd love to come and spend a day with you detecting down there. The problem I've got is the distance, mate. I mean, I travel to Suffolk every now and then and it bloody kills me now. Years ago, I could drive to Norfolk and detect and come back the same day, even though I got in at 3 o'clock in the morning. But now it's just, as you get older, it's tiring. But there you go. We've got how far from London, please? Well, if you wanted to travel up here to the north from London, it's got to be a 4.5 to 5 hour journey. It's a fair stint. Thanks for the honesty. Many newbies get despondent when they don't find Roman coin or Celtic. I just love being out. Absolutely, Steve. It's all about, and I was saying this, me and Melanie were having a discussion last week on our Unearthed Dig. It's all about the anticipation of finding something interesting. That's the first and foremost thing. Bringing a little bit of history back to life and saving it from further destruction, blah, blah, blah. But you're also getting good exercise. You're also getting fresh air. And if you're lucky, if you're really lucky, you get some cracking scenery as well. So it's just a fantastic hobby for getting outdoors and getting your creative juices flowing. You know, it's good for the, you know, if you suffer with your mental health, like a lot of people do, get into detecting, because you can focus away from your woes and your troubles that are really bogging you down, and you can concentrate on some really brilliant days out in the field, which is good. And we've got Claire on tonight. Oh, hang on a minute, Claire. Let me just see. Graham and Mel are awesome. That's very kind of you, Claire. Good to see you. And I know you're not started detecting yet, Claire, but you've been following the Unearthed YouTube channel for some time, which is rather nice. You should do more detecting talks, Graham. They were great and funny. I should actually. I just don't have the time anymore. I mean, we started off doing detecting talk, and and they were quite successful. But you've got to have the content to do it, and if you haven't got the content to do it, just bear with me, folks. Melanie's having a bit of an episode with the dogs. So one of the dogs has decided it doesn't like the other dog being near Melanie. So the big dog, Rufus, who's a big daft, just a big daft lazy thing, beautiful nature, but just he's such a laid back dog. He would loll all over Melanie all day on the settee if he could get away with it. And Tinker, the little terrier, thinks she gets jealous. So there's been a bit of growling going on in the background, and Mel's right between it. Anyway, it's just the way it is. They're just crazy. Takes me 6 hours from Suffolk. Okay, and so that gives you some idea how far we are up. So we've got, and there you go, folks. There you go. There she is. So she's getting jealous, right? Tinks is here, right? Tinks is getting jealous because Rufus, right? Because Rufus is putting, and you can see her looking. She's actually looking over at Melanie and Rufus at the moment with jealous. They're jealous eyes, folks. They're jealous eyes. Tinker he's raging with jealousy. She's all rigid and stiff with jealousy. Folks, I'm missing a lot of the comments. I know you can read these comments, which is good. Let's see if Surfside Dan's back, and it's always nice to see people that haven't been on before. I think it's the thrill of the hunt and the people you meet. Absolutely, it's all, we've met some. Do you know what though? We've met some right bells in the detecting world. I mean, some of the most toxic people you'll ever meet, which is a real shame. But I tell you what, on the other hand, we've met some cracking people. Dal, good to see you. If you've just come on, Tinker's here sulking because she doesn't like the other dog being near Melanie. I wondered why we don't see you on the digs, Dan. I didn't realize you live so far away. Yeah, he's right down the other end of the country. And detecting tales. Yeah, detecting tales, mate. I could write a book. I'm actually writing another book, actually, Darren. I'm somewhere down the road of my second book, but that won't be out till next year. Yeah. Where are we at, mate? Where are we at? Thanks, Graham. I love my dogs. My favourite Doberman. Yes, I do it for the future. I do it in the future, defo. That's very kind of you, Claire. You're more than welcome to come along. What type of dog is it? She is a Plummer Terrier. You don't see many of these terriers. People think she's a Jack Russell, but she's actually a Plummer Terrier, which is a registered breed now. So she's got the papers and everything. Haven't you, Tinks? Highly intelligent dog, but very jealous. Hence why this demeanor is going on. She's got this really sad look on her face at the moment, but don't be taken away by it. I can't see the screen. My dog gets jealous when I pick up my actual kids. Yeah, no, they do. And people don't realize how intelligent dogs are. I mean, she's probably got the intelligence of a small child. Lee is back. 100% agree. Getting away from the hustle and bustle of city life and being able to get out in the countryside for a bit of fresh air and cow poo. The problem is as well is a lot of people live in cities and they don't get the chance to go into the countryside as much. We're quite lucky up here because we're surrounded by it. But I can only imagine how it must feel for people to get out just that 1 day a week or 2 days a week into the countryside and think goodbye to my work life, goodbye to the cities and the towns. Just get out there in the countryside and see what we can find. Jim's saying hi to Rufus and hi Tinks. She's just looking at Mel, mate. She's just completely wrought with jealousy. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift her down. Go on. No, I'm not happy at all. That was the so Dave Taylor's joined as a new member, which is very kind. It's worth it. It's honestly, if you join as a member, the perks are incredible. You get access to the unearthed organised digs. You get discount. There's perks in there. There's information in that we don't share on YouTube, only on the members only section. There's all sorts of things going on. She looks like a Jack Russell. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. I want a Doberman. They're my favourite. She loves her mum. She does. She's been a good dog, this Tinker. It's she's been a cracker. My wife hates my dogs. The dogs hate her twofold. What sort of dogs have you got, Russell, by any by chance? No, you wouldn't be able to see him. It's too big. I don't know what sort of dogs you've got, Russell. Anyway. So listen, folks. If there's anybody got any questions, I mean, you know, now's the time to ask. We've got 15 minutes left. So if you've got any questions, let me know before we knock it off. You know, there was a lot to talk about there. We crammed a lot in, but you know, I hope you enjoyed it the other night on the television, on the Channel 5 stuff. It was good, and there is going to be more television work coming maybe next year that we're going to be involved in. So, which is good. It's all good stuff as long as it's done in the right manner and the right it follows the right procedures. It can't be a bad thing. Terriers, ratters. Oh yeah, she's a brilliant ratter, Russell. She's as game as they come, Tinker. I've got 337-mile drive on Friday night. On the plus side, I've got permission to dig in an orchard near Wimborne, Minster. Oh, that's good, Jim. So is Jim not on the Unearthed Dig on Sunday?
His grandson's birthday.
Ah, right. Sorry, Jim. I thought you were with us this Sunday, mate.
No, I told you that. It's his grandson's birthday.
Right. Sorry, XP. It's 4, mate. It's 4. So we've had 2 already, and there's another 2 to follow. I'm not on anymore. I've done my bit. So I was on the first one, the second one. I'm not on anymore. But you know, next week's will be equally as good, and the end one should be as well. What is the best metal detector to go for? Is a Vanquish. Simplicity-wise, a Vanquish is very good, Claire. It's a multi-frequency machine. You can use it on land and beach. Very simplistic. Automatic ground balance. Very, very simplistic to use. But also the Simplex is a great machine to start with as well. That's waterproof. You can make it wireless if you wish. Relatively simplistic to use. But there's lots of different... You know, I remember a guy buying a 340 Vanquish, which is the base model, here in Furness, and you know, second trip out with it, got a gold hammered, deep as well, really deep. It was a gold noble. It just shows you don't have to buy these high-end machines to get the best out of the hobby. Were you going to say something about a rally? There could be, David, an event coming, but we've got to make sure we talk about. Actually, I haven't even told Melanie about it yet. So there's an event, or there's an event ticking over in my head. But anyway, there you go. Can you do a series on biodetector to first permissions? I think it would go viral. Yeah, no, it probably would, Russ. Yeah, it probably would, mate. Just let me get this from Steve. I haven't heard anything. I'm hoping not, Steve, actually. I'm hoping that the Legend will have enough updates to make it nice and straightforward now, because quite a few of our customers that bought Legend machines were getting a little bit dismayed by the amount of updates that were coming out. I mean, I understand why people do it, and I understand why the manufacturers do it, but it would be much better, I think, if because I think the latest update was the vast one, wasn't it? It was all singing, all dancing update. So that should have done it. Should have got rid of any glitches. So I'm hoping it's just a rumor, Steve. I'm hoping it is, because I think it's got enough updates now. People just need to get on with it, get used to using it, and enjoy the machine. I'm a newbie looking for my first detector. I have been looking around for hours to try find one. I think I've settled on a Quest 6 Q60. Have you? I haven't, Matthew. I've not used the Q60. I've used the Q30 Plus, which is the wireless waterproof one, which is a damn good machine for the money. Really is a good machine. I think equally as good as the Quest 60, to be fair, judging by some of the comments and customer feedback. But there you go. We've got, how much is the cheapest Vanquish? They're coming at 229, Claire. Sorry, Graham Mel, going to have to go out with the family for tea, and the food's just arrived. Enjoy tonight. See you Sunday. Yeah, no problem, Andrew. Your name's on the list, mate. I can't wait to see you, mate. You're a cracking guy. Good to see you, and I hope you get more hammered on Sunday. Graham, will there be another series for detecting for treasure? Now, you're thinking about the latest one that's on now, the 4-parter. I'm not sure. If it's a success, which I'm sure it will be, there's every chance that there could be a second series coming out, you know, maybe next year or so. So yeah, we're getting asked about the Great British Treasure Hunt 2. The Great British Treasure Hunt with Henry Cole, which was our first series earlier in the year with ITV. That's, you know, there's every chance we could be featuring another series in the future. So we'll give you more information when that comes out, because that was a hugely enjoyable series to get involved with. You don't realise how enjoyable it is until it's finished, and then you look back. But that was very good. I get that next year, 100%. Yeah, just Claire, just pick up the phone, give us a ring when you want to. You know, when you want a detector, we'll help you out all we can. We sell lots of metal detectors all over the country now, so you're more than welcome to come, and we'll help you out all we can. Would you say, as a seller to someone, to buy secondhand? We used to sell quite. We have this conversation quite a lot, don't we, Mel, about secondhand machines? We used to sell quite a lot of secondhand detectors, and these were coming from people that had bought metal detectors from us and then decided to trade them in for a different model or a higher model, and it worked perfectly fine, apart from the VAT situation. But that was just the way it is, because you get charged VAT on secondhand machines, even though there's been VAT charged on the first machine when people have bought it new. And then we started buying in secondhand machines to sell, and that's when the problem started. Because what happens is, when people, not everybody, but when people sell, or certain people sell secondhand machines, they're doing it to get rid of it for a reason. It's got a fault, or it's got a glitch, or it's got a coil fault, or it's got a software issue, it's out of warranty, whatever it might be. And quite quickly we learned that there was a lot of secondhand machines on the market that had glitches, faults, weren't working correctly, just not
waterproof. They'd wet them.
Yeah, that was it. If they weren't waterproof, they got them soaked, so the machine didn't work at all. They tried to dry it out the best they could, so the machine would work, you know, periodically, or would turn itself on, but would be wrought with issues. And then we quickly learned that the second-hand market was pretty flawed, so we decided to stop selling. We do still sell one or two second-hand machines, but only if we know the machine, we know the background of the machine, and we know the person that's selling them. Graham and Mel will also give you all the answers if you can. That's very kind of you, Dave. Very, very kind of you, mate. Do you sell Minelab coil protectors? Mine starting peeling. Yes, we do, mate. We do. The coil covers, you mean, Andrew? I think. Yes. Yeah, absolutely do.
Dale's still on.
Dale's still on, is he? Right, okay. Anyway, folks, listen, I'm going to give it 5 minutes and I'm off. Is there anything else before we disappear? Been quite a good little session, this, and I think what we should do is do it more, the live streams. I'm letting them slip. There's no point in me paying for the subscription on this Sunday Night Live StreamYard thing if we're not going to use it. So yeah, we may as well start every couple of weeks doing a live stream. And if you want to see Melanie feature on the live stream, folks, you've got to hit that like button, because I think she enjoyed the last one. She did very well when she was on a few months ago.
I actually will not be doing a live stream.
Yes, you will, Mel. Look at all the people saying, get Mel on. They are. Look, straight away, Jim Lodge. Get Mel to do the next one. I absolutely agree with you, Jim.
No.
Yeah. Bombard the messages about Mel doing it. So we've got Darren Sutton just come on. Hi, Darren. Good evening, Graham. As you know, I'm a newbie, but lucky enough to have a few permissions. Haven't found much yet, but I'm really enjoying the hobby. That's good to know, Darren. You keep going at it, mate. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember, just use the permissions that you've got to enjoy yourself, and start finding little bits and pieces, and you'll love it. Would I do one-to-ones on the? I probably would if I've got enough marshals, Lee. But now you're using the Legend more than me. You probably know more, just as much as I do with the Legend. Because you have to remember, I did one of the first Legend reviews, actually, and I got it out the box that night, and then I built it, and then I did the review very next morning. I did have no experience of using it. I did it blind right out the box, and I found it a great machine. But you probably know just as much as me about the Legend, Lee. It'd probably be better if I was using the same machine as you and I don't use a Legend. Get the boss on. There you go. Mike says, oh yeah, it's all Melanie now. Oh, everyone loves Mel too. Detecting Dale says Mel.
Neil West's on.
Come on, Mrs. Unearth, pull your weight. Claire says Melanie. Oh my word! Even Claire, even Neil Radner says Melanie. God bless the king, long live the queen. There you go. So she's going to do the next one, folks. It is beyond all doubt that you've wanted Mel on, and I think you're right. I think you're right. XP, is there Unearthed UK hoodies? We've got the t-shirts, XP, and we've got the hoodies coming. We didn't get the hoodies this summer because it was that hot. People just wouldn't want to buy them. But now autumn's creeping in, even though it's still 20 odd degrees here. The hoodies will be coming pretty soon, I think. So keep an eye out for them, mate. Could I possibly do a video on how to properly use the coin cleaning products? I don't know if you're on the member section. You've probably seen me clean that brooch up and use the fluid and the coin cleaning products, Dave. But I will, that showed them in action. But I will do a video probably on the member section first on how to use the coin cleaner and the product. Yes, good one, mate. Oh, I enjoy watching the live streams. It could be good to see them, Maya, often. Definitely put Mel in the hot seat. Absolutely, mate. And do you know what? She did really well last time. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Listen to this. I'm shy. Don't be shy. Your mother wasn't. That's what they used to say years ago. It's just a joke. And Melanie's giving me the look. Melanie's anything but shy, folks.
I am shy.
Melanie's anything but shy. Melanie hounded me for weeks on end to have a date with her years ago. She was ringing me mobile up, texting me all the time. There was nothing shy at the time about Melanie. I'm just joking. Looking forward to a weekend of next year. What would you recommend? It's difficult, isn't it? This is what I would recommend, Steve, and I really, really would recommend this. Some of the circus events out there are not really aimed at the detectorists to go out and find stuff. It's more of a get together, meet a few YouTubers, have a few beers, look at the tents that are up. But when it comes to finding things, usually a waste of time. Odd times you'll find some bits and pieces. The big commercial rallies years ago were exactly the same. Some of the coins and artifacts on the big commercial rallies were planted. So I would look carefully at the events that are catered for purely for the detectorists, where it's really good land, you've got good, honest people running the event, and you've got like-minded folk attending the digs. And there's some out there still, Steve. So you'll find them. If I come across any that trigger me memory, I'll let you know. She did very well on the Chester video. Yes, she did, Mike. And she passed the camera over to me, and a woman collapsed in front of me, and I had it on film, and it deleted it. Hi, Graham. Thanks for all your help. I'm a newbie. I'm loving the hobby. I don't care if I don't find out love getting out. Absolutely, mate. I'm so glad, Darren, that you're enjoying it. You keep enjoying it, mate. You're one of the good guys out there. Don't be shy. Melanie's a natural. Am I going to invite? Do you know what? I can invite guests, actually. I can invite up to 1, 2, 3, at least 4 people, I think, Dave. So if people want to come on in the future, well, and we can talk and do interviews and talk to people about their detecting experiences and such like, yeah, not a problem, mate. I love the live streams. Get all this info. Good questions for everyone tonight would be brilliant. No, we can do it. We can build on these live streams. This is only the start. This is only the start of what we can do. We've been doing live streams for about a year now, haven't we? But I remember doing a live stream, actually. I think it was the second one in. We got a troll. I mean, I had to learn how to block him off it because it was just having a right go about metal detectors and XP are rubbish and MineLab are crap, and it was just abuse right along, and we got rid of him in the end. So you've got to be careful a little bit. Got to go. See you soon. Right, folks. Members could be featured as a guest. No, that's the plan. We can do it, but you've got to let me know if you want to do it and you want to feature. If you want to, I can't just set a live stream up and say, "Does somebody want to come on live?" Because that's then difficult to sort of organize. But if somebody wants to come on live on the next one, just give me a shout. We can come on. Not a problem. In fact, Dale, we could do an interview with you if you wanted. I know you've done one before with Jason, but not a problem doing that. David Agate, we're good to see some Team Unearth content producers on a great platform to promote their channels. Yeah, they could do it. Absolutely could do it. Not a problem, mate. Not a problem, Dave. Night all. Good to see you, Sam. See you soon, mate. top man, Brian Clark as well. Enjoyed the live chat, Graham and Mel. Great subjects. Right, folks, I'm going. I've got to finish my water off. I'm having a chill out. It's been a busy day. We've been at Sizer Castle all day, walking around the castle, which was fantastic. If you're up here in the north anytime soon, folks, get yourself to Sizer Castle. I know it's National Trust, ignore that, but it's a fantastic place to visit. There you go, folks. Bye for now.